Starfield, the game that's been talked to death about at this point. Is it good? Is it shit? Does Bethesda still have it? I'm not here to beat a dead horse or anything.
Not in the mood for it.
Although I do love to get that fucker a good whack. But it's a game that I didn't play on launch. I feel like a lot of people are in that position. There was just a lot of big games that came out around that time that a lot of us got distracted by. I consider myself a big fan of Bethesda games, but Starfield I just didn't play at launch, so why not try it now? So jumping right in, we obviously spend way too much time in the character creator, trying to make sure we make someone who doesn't instill feelings of Uncanny Valley. They do let you do a fair amount of customization within the character builder. You'll be able to create some pretty wacky characters. I've seen some pretty fun ones online. I think the favorite one I saw was someone made William Dafoe in Starfield.
You know how much I sacrificed?
But despite this, you have about 46 hairstyles, and about 43 of them are punks. Why can't we have more hairstyles to choose from? I thought that was a bit weird. I noticed they had Todd Howard's hairstyle in there, so you can be Todd.
Oh, yeah.
But the rest of them are just kind of bizarre. Like, who modeled these? Like, who looks like this? Bit of a silly nitpick on the surface, especially since you're only going to see your character like 5% of the time if you're playing first person. But I do feel like it's worth bringing up because a lot of people spend a lot of time building their characters in these games. With my first few hours of the game, I was actually pretty pleasantly surprised. The tutorial doesn't take very long to get through, which is nice, and you see space pirates pretty early in, so you're going in guns blazing pretty quick. I definitely don't like it when big RPGs like this really like to take their time with building up grandeur in the beginning of the game, especially something that you expect to be playing over and over again. The combat's pretty similar to Fallout 4 in my opinion, but the guns feel like they have even more oomph, which is big because Bethesda games just aren't known for good gunplay, looking at you, Fallout 3. So to have guns that feel like they have a bit more firepower to them, that was a very nice thing to see in Starfield. With Bethesda RPGs, I never really expect the combat to be something that I'm going to enjoy much. Usually it's the world building and exploration that sucks me in. So for Starfield to have combat that felt fun, I thought was very promising. Going through the weapons, there is a good variety that complements different playstyles with this game. I would have liked to see more over-the-top kind of guns, like if you think about a game like Fallout, how you have like the gamma ray guns and everything. I always enjoy just kind of really silly stuff like that. You still get some good variety of weapons in Starfield though. I really enjoyed the old world guns. I thought those were pretty cool. Going through the first dungeon run, going after some space bandits or whatever, I had a lot of fun with that. However, one thing that really stood out to me was that I didn't really notice like a big reward at the end of this like dungeon. I'm used to like a game like Skyrim where at the end you see like a big chest or something and you're like, ah, there's my reward. I didn't really notice that in Starfield. Like sometimes you would find little things that feel kind of rewarding, like a skill magazine or something randomly on a desk somewhere in one of the dungeons you go through. However, it doesn't ever feel super obvious, and I often feel like I have just completely missed it, and then I need to go back and search, go like, okay, well, where's the reward for this dungeon? I must have missed it, and then find that, oh, I already collected it. It was just kind of trash. I was often put off of wanting to explore dungeons by just the overall lack of reward. When going into the Constellation quest of the game, which is like the main quest series of the game, I was definitely expecting some sort of like grandiose story. Like this is a game set in space where we're looking at how far humanity has come and whether it's shaped the overall human condition as we live separated across the stars. But no, it's all fetch quests.
Ooh, how you doing?
Look, I'm not going to pretend like all the Bethesda games are much different from this. Yunus and I have actually been playing a lot of Oblivion recently. If you'd like to see our Oblivion review, please subscribe so you can see when it comes out. But Oblivion is filled with fetching. What makes a game like Oblivion feel more distinct with its fetching is that their journeys are often a lot more memorable. In Oblivion, I may need to get some Daedric artifact. Bethesda love artifacts, don't they? So along the way, I'll be fighting zombies, ghosts, then some big Lich King bastard comes out to fight. Then I'm traveling the actual plains of Oblivion to steal an artifact from under a Daedric prince's nose. Like in Starfield, I was expecting more fetch quests, but I was excited at the idea of having those journeys, but across space in all new environments. I've put a fair amount of time into No Man's Sky, and these are very different games. But I loved all the weird and colorful places I discovered in that game that made me really excited to think about exploring environments like that, but as a Bethesda RPG. What I found in Starfield was that I was often just boost jumping across an empty sea of rocks that usually looked the same, or I was going through menus in order to quick travel to a different empty sea of rocks that also looked the same, with the same group of people in it that all wanted to fight me again. Ultimately, most of the journey in Starfield is going to be looking at menus. Now, there are obviously some cool looking areas throughout Starfield. The best planets are always the ones that are most populated. What Bethesda is best at is world building, so places that feel lived in are the ones that stand out the most. Talking with Yunus about the game, he had a similar experience. And he told me to stop playing through the main quest, because that was what was burning him out, and to just focus on the side content and enjoy the little stories there. And that definitely made the game a bit more fun. So the places with the NPCs or people in it are the places where that journey I keep talking about can be found. Playing through the game, I kept having flashbacks of playing Fallout 76 at launch, where it was just an empty space void of any people or stories. Then Bethesda realized, oh, the game isn't much fun to play now, and added them all back in. Why would they make the same mistake with Starfield? Does Todd Howard just hate having people in his games? After a wave of critical reviews in this game, Bethesda started to actually respond to some of them. They told people that the astronauts had a good time on the moon, so you should have a good time jumping around in empty space as well. The different cities were nice in this game, and it gave a sense of variety that I really started to desperately crave after seeing 15 different planets that were all different shades of brown, with the same group of friends on it that all want to murder me. Going through the main quest in this game just doesn't feel super fulfilling to me. This could be why I've seen a lot of reviewers claim that the game doesn't get good until you've played it for like 20 hours, but I also think it's pretty ludicrous to say that you need to play a game for the length that it takes to beat most games until it starts feeling fun. Could be because the main quest of the game is just kind of a grind. It doesn't feel super rewarding, and most of the memorable moments I had in the game are doing side content or exploring the cities, things that the main quest doesn't really make you go to. While it is ludicrous to say that you need to play the game for the length that it takes to beat most games for it to be good, it does kind of seem like that's the case with Starfield. The more you play, the more it starts to feel fun. Eventually, though, it does feel like the game starts to outstay its welcome a little bit. Leveling in the game is very similar to Fallout 4, in that you don't get to see a list of stats in a more pen and paper style RPG. Instead, you'll have a list of perks to choose from each time you level, which leads your character further into whatever playstyle you enjoy. This is kind of nice for a more easy, accessible way to approach an RPG, but admittedly, I haven't really ever enjoyed perks. I've always enjoyed just seeing stats and numbers. With Skyrim, it wasn't so bad, because I still felt like I was leveling up a stat while also putting perks into it. Kind of like a dual system with Skyrim. With Fallout 4, though, it felt like it was dumbing this whole thing down a bit by just letting you boost your health a little bit, and then you pick a perk, and that's it. We see more of this dumbed-down RPG approach in Starfield, which maybe it's not really fair to call it dumbed down. It's just not really for me. I much prefer seeing my stats and attributes and being able to manage those numbers and everything. I guess I'm a nerd. Nerd! As I had stated earlier, though, one thing that this game does take from Fallout 4 and improves on pretty well is the gunplay. Bethesda have always struggled with guns in their games. You look at Fallout 3 or Obsidian's New Vegas, the guns just feel so underwhelming in those games. Fortunately in Starfield, though, a lot of the guns feel great to use. I enjoy the variety we have, even if it's not as over-the-top as I would have liked. I think there are many that'll appreciate this more modest approach to the future. That leads me into the overall visual design of the game. I love it. The UI is still clunky to navigate, as a tradition these days with a Bethesda game, but the visuals look slick. And I really love the aesthetics shown in computer software in the game. Everything has this kind of like 70s, but in the future, kind of space-age vibe to it, and I think it works really well.
What is on your head?
It's just a shame that looking at the overall graphics of the game, you can tell this is all built in Creation Engine, and the Creation Engine's trying really hard to convince you this is next-gen games. Starfield is by no stretch a bad game, and I think if another studio put it out, people would be far more forgiving to that game, and it may even have a cult following. The issue is that this game is put out by a game studio with a big track record to keep up with, and they are now being backed by the most valuable company in the world. It's kind of hard to go into the game without expectations. Like, I remember when I played Fallout 76 at launch, I was really underwhelmed. But ultimately, I gave it a pass since they kept reminding me this is an online game, this is scary new territory for us. After playing Fallout 4 and questioning some of that game's design choices, to Fallout 76, where I'm just confused by that game's design choices, to now playing Starfield, I'm seeing a bit of an unfortunate pattern. Bethesda seems to refuse to have their games grow, and instead want to keep throwing the same ideas at a wall and hoping that it sticks. Or maybe they just know people will come in and mod the shit out of it to make it the big grandiose space adventure that it was supposed to be. Overall, Yunus and I decided to give Starfield a 6 out of 10. It's not a bad game at all, and there are plenty of great moments to be had in the game. It's just those great moments I often felt like I had to search for, rather than just organically appearing through my adventure like they would in an Elder Scrolls game. Like many, I think I'm a bit concerned about how Elder Scrolls 6 is going to turn out. Fortunately, we have many great Bethesda RPGs to play. After playing Starfield, it got me pretty heavily back into the older games, so I'm thankful for that. I've been having a lot of fun playing Morrowind, and Yunus and I have been playing a lot of Oblivion, so subscribe for that review, which will hopefully be coming out soon. And if you enjoy hearing me ramble about video games, that's what I do now, so subscribe for that. Check out our older video on Samba de Amigo if you want to check out that review. Otherwise, I will hopefully see you in our future content. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.